Let's go back to our top story now. Parent Power says bullying is happening all across the country. It says while the responsibility to stop this lies with everyone, school governing bodies have a key role to play. To discuss this, we're joined by Andisiwe Hlungwane from Parent Power. Andisiwe, very good to have you with us this morning. I mean, everyone's reeling about what happened to the schoolgirl who eventually took her life. Who should be responsible here? What action should be taken?
Good morning and good morning to your viewers. So I think as Parent Power, we believe that school governing bodies play a very vital role in really turning around the situation with bullying in our schools. And the reason why we say that, I think we first have to understand what a school governing body is. And a school governing body is a statutory body that's made up of parents, teachers, non-teaching staff, the principal, and then at a high school level, learners too, who come together to govern the school. And as part of that, it's setting up the policies of the school, one of which is learner conduct, which should include in it policy around bullying and really stipulating what bullying is, because it takes on multiple forms. It's not just physical bullying. There's emotional, there is verbal, there's cyberbullying now that we're in the ages that we're in. And we paint out what this is and what this offense leads to. So if you are caught bullying, how are the ways in which that the school needs to handle the discipline of the learners who are caught bullying at different levels. You know, emotional bullying versus physical bullying has got different. So the school really needs to unpack in its policies what bullying is and how they plan on dealing with it. And then also really make sure that parents, learners, teachers, everybody in the school community understands this policy so that it is properly implemented. Then follow through on the implementation, because it's one thing to have policies. We have a lot of those in South Africa, but there is this idea that we need to implement them. And I think it comes from everyone understanding what the policy is and then following through when reports are made of bullying at a school, not just turning a blind eye and saying, oh, these are kids just being kids, but actually taking the hard line and saying, okay, we have said that with this level of bullying, this is how we're going to deal with it, and actually following through with it.
Yeah, because, I mean, you look at the perpetrator, the girl, and she just hits her relentlessly on and on and on across the face. I mean, the fact that she thinks that this sort of violence and abuse is okay, I mean, is this something that most of the time starts at home?
So yes, so I think there's actually two levels to it. There is the policy level, but then there's also the culture of the school community. And when I say school community, I mean the broad school community, which is the school itself, but also the homes that surround the community. We need to always remember that schools are not isolated islands. They live within a certain community. And I think there is a need to sort of unpack what the community that the school is in, and within the school itself, that makes it culturally normalized for something like this to happen, that makes it acceptable for something like this to happen. And there's a lot of role modeling that happens for children, whether it's within schools. So we talk about corporal punishment, for example, within schools. It's illegal in South Africa, but we know that that's happening. So if we're role modeling corporal punishment to our learners within our schools, we're showing that the only way that we can deal with conflict is to physically deal with it. If at home, as parents, the way that we interact with our children is through violence, we're role modeling that violence is the only way to interact, to deal with conflict and to deal with problems that we have.
And so sorry, excuse me jumping in here. Is it getting worse? I mean, yesterday there was an incident at my kid's school. She's only 9 years old. And this group that she was in, there were about 5 girls. And somebody had written on the wall, I mean, just, you know, swear word, my daughter's name, and then sex under some of the other girls' names. I mean, they're 9. And, you know, we're also shocked and taken aback at this sort of destruction and hate at such an early age.
Yeah, I also think it depends what we're also exposing our children to. And I think it depends on the relationships that we build with our children. I think as parents, we are the first educators of our children, right? We are the people who teach our children how to walk, to talk, how to relate with other people. And I think it's important to keep that relationship strong as your child enters into school, even though they're not primarily with you for most of the day. But it's so important to keep that relationship strong so that you can sort of have a sense of which direction your child is going, whether or not they are the bully or they are being bullied. Really having a sense of what is going on with your child and being able to intervene as early as possible.
Andisiwe, very good advice, thank you. And I guess nobody should remain quiet. If you see it, if you're experiencing it, do not be quiet.